This microfiber lounge came to us with what looked like hot glue blobs all over it. We couldn't shift it with solvents or cleaners, but steam seemed to do the trick. So I'll show two examples of using a special soldering iron with a rounded tip to remove it. This is the soldering iron I used. I got it from Finici. The tip's about between, say, a 5 and 10 cent piece, and it worked quite well. This gluey stuff is quite rubbery. It's bonded into the fibres of the microfiber fabric, so to try and scrape it off, we just pull the fibres out of the material and make it worse. Hence the need to actually soften it in order to get it out. That's where the soldering iron comes into play. That, used in conjunction with a wet cloth, allows you to soften and melt this stuff kind of into the rag in most cases. Where it's a little bit thick, sometimes it needs a bit of a hand to get it off, and that's where I can scrape it a bit with the screwdriver to remove the thicker part once it's been softened with the steam. You can see at times here, when it's soft, it tends to want to stick to the cloth. That way it kind of gets pulled off into the fibres of the cloth a little bit. And using the edge of that hot soldering iron disc, you can kind of scrape it as well. So it's just a little bit of technique that helps get rid of the bulk of it. So where there's a little bit of residue left, the sharp edge of the screwdriver scrapes that off fairly successfully, going up and down in the kind of a pattern of the fibre helps, and then finishing off again with a bit more steam with the hot iron and the wet cloth. Pretty much drags the rest of it off the surface, and it's all gone. After it's all gone, after it's removed, I've given it a bit of a wipe down. Because it's been wet, I've used a ordinary household iron with a dry rag to protect the microfiber surface, to dry the surface off. Bit of a wipe down, and it's a pretty good result. You can do the same thing using the iron, but it's much slower. It didn't work very well, nowhere near as fast as using the soldering iron technique for some reason. But if you did get stuck, you could persevere and you will get a final result which is just as good, but takes 10 times longer. So just to prove that it wasn't a fluke the first time, we've done it on a number of the areas that were affected. This one probably took at a maximum of about 6 minutes to actually go from start to finish. So it's quite, it worked quite well for this stuff, whatever it was. And as I said, I think it's probably a hot glue, something like that. So it's certainly worth a try if you come across that in the future. If solvents won't get rid of it, if cleaners won't get rid of it, maybe you can try this steaming method. Good luck.